All right, ciao my friends. I posted today I will be going live on Facebook, and here I am going live, Century 21 Dream Homes, and my special friend I've been announcing, and the mortgage lender, mortgage broker. It's a Brian Schmidt team.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us at the Facebook Live. The reason we are here today, and I have actually Steven here with us as well. It's our, come on here, Steven.
Yeah, say hi.
Say hi.
Hello.
Yeah, he came here to ask some questions that he's very curious about as well. Brian Schmidt is going to be answering and demystifying.
Demystifying.
Yes, very good about flips and making money. And I know that you want to know how to do that. So we're going to try to help you. And also, once we finish this conversation, if you do have any questions, please put them in there and we will be answering to them after our presentation.
Yes.
So please stay tuned. And hi, Stephen, tell your name.
Stephen Ingram with Century 21 Dream Homes. I've been an agent coming up on a decade now.
Nice.
So one of the main questions I get a lot is credit score.
Yeah.
What about someone with a 550 credit score?
All
How
right.
can they be assisted?
So there's a lot of misinformation out there about credit. First off, the minimum financeable credit score today is actually a 500. Believe it or not.
Wow.
So that's for an owner-occupied home. That's an FHA mortgage. FHA's actual guideline is 500 to 579 is the minimum down payment with that credit score range is 10% down. There's no way around that. So 580 and up is going to be 3.5% down. But somebody with a sub 580 credit score can absolutely be approved so long as they have the down payment today.
Okay.
But I don't recommend that loan for a lot of people because if there's an opportunity to improve their credit score, we want to do that first.
Right.
So credit simulations are super important, and I do those almost daily in my business.
Yeah, I've heard that you can help out as well, build the credit and then buy. So if somebody
Correct.
comes to you, I had this happen, Stephen, too.
Mm-hmm.
I would send someone who did have a credit score that are on a lower range, and the team, Brian Schmidt team, would help them with the bringing up the score before we purchase, so they don't have to be getting up really, really high interest rates.
Correct,
So,
correct. And being able to buy the home that they want. I mean, if we have to have a credit score that's above 700 to get a conventional loan that makes sense, or they're buying a condo and they have to go conventional, well, then we have to have a tool to be able to get the score up to make that happen. So
Thank you for answering that. That's
Yeah.
just so much misconception about credit scores.
yeah,
Thank you
just
so much.
understand when you search on Google, you're getting general results.
Sure.
Right? They may not apply to you. So
Sure.
yeah, be careful what you read.
yeah.
So my next question would be, what about purchasing or closing a property in an LLC?
Great question. So you can absolutely close in the name of an LLC. You just cannot do like a traditional loan. You can't do a conventional mortgage or an FHA mortgage or a VA mortgage in the name of an LLC. So if you're going to be using an LLC, that's usually an investment type property, right? So you're going to buy a property that you're going to maybe flip or maybe buy and hold. So we have investors that we work with that will allow us to close in the name of an LLC, and those loans are non-recourse. They don't show up on your credit report, and most importantly, we don't look at your income, we look at the property's income. So for a long-term hold, that's a great loan product to do that, and you can close in the name of an LLC.
So that's actually when I hear about talking about portfolios and talking about multiple properties.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these investors do buy properties in LLC, and they put them in a multiple and more than a few properties in there, right? How many
Absolutely.
properties is the limit?
There really isn't a limit, but it depends on what your attorney or maybe sometimes the bank will limit you to be able to put into that one entity. So if you have one LLC, a lot of times you can do what's called a series LLC. That I don't want to get into the legal dynamics of it, but
right.
series.
We have an attorney coming too next
Correct.
month.
So
So we'll
series-
talk about this.
Series LLCs will allow you to have a bunch of properties under one name, basically. But you can put multiple properties under one LLC, but you expose yourself to risk, which is why a lot of times with the investors we work with, they will have one LLC per property and one loan
Remember
per
this.
property.
Right.
So you
That's the recommended rate.
and you can set up in the state of Illinois. You can literally go to the Secretary of State's website, set up your own LLC for about $175 and have it done in 24 hours.
Yes, I had this happen. I actually set up my own LLC through that, and it was
Perfect.
that much. So it's not expensive, and it's really great to protect your assets and protect your investments.
Correct.
Stephen, any other questions, or shall we move on to?
Well, I actually do. So what about with the FAH loan? Like with say someone wants to buy a 3-flat building, what are the requirements? Say for instance, that, you know, they buy the building or try to get the loan and they don't want to live there, or they do have to live there. I'm hearing that a lot.
So great question. I love 2 to 4 unit properties. So I've helped many clients get started investing in real estate by purchasing a 2 to 4 unit property that they live in, and regardless of what their credit situation looks like, in a 2 to 4 unit property, if it's going to be owner occupied, you can use, in the mortgage world, we can use the rental income from the units that you don't live in, even though you don't own the property yet. So a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, why would you do that? That could hurt them. That could be bad for them, right?
It shows them income.
Correct, but ultimately you're not going to not rent them out. So we're going to look at the market rents in the appraisal, and if the market rent is $1,500 a unit and you're buying a 3 unit, well, there's $3,000 of rent that we can actually use towards your mortgage approval.
Right.
So I've helped many people do this, and what they'll do is they'll buy that property with the FHA mortgage that allows us to have the rental income of the other units, but most importantly,
Question actually, do they have to live in a building or?
Yes, for 6 months.
Okay.
6 months.
Oh,
6
so it's changed, because I've always heard it was a year.
Every lender's different, but 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good to
Unless
know.
it's FHA.
Good to
FHA
know.
doesn't have that limit.
It's 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you have to move into the property. You can't, you don't want to commit occupancy fraud, so you got to live in it. But literally 6 months or so is a good time frame to stay in the property. But the key to that whole scenario is you're buying a multi-unit property using income from the tenants that you are going to get in the future, but the minimum down payment's only 3.5%.
Wow.
Yeah. So and then you can get the closing costs financed into the
Correct.
mortgage, and
And
know
you
you
keep
only,
your cash.
Yes. I had this done many
Oh,
times,
okay.
and I have investors who purchased 2, 3, 4 flats. Even my brother bought 2 flats with a basement, and right now he moved out of the building, and the building pays itself.
Perfect.
And his income, and from the income he's getting from the building, he bought a house. So it is a
Wow.
really great way to build assets, to build wealth, and to build future for your kids and your family and for yourself. But today, the most importantly, we want to talk about flips.
Yeah.
We want to talk about how to make money from buying investment properties that need work, possibly not even need work, and just reinvesting some money into it and then flipping it within 6 months period or
less sometimes.
less sometimes. Yeah. So tell us about some experience we had with flips, and what do you suggest?
So, all right. So first and foremost, there's lots of ways to finance property. But if you're going to buy a flip, what most people generally understand is they think that you have to pay cash for that property, which is a great strategy if you have the cash. But for a lot of families, they don't have the cash, right?
Right.
So if you want to get started investing in real estate, so what I do is I have an investor that offers a loan product where you could effectively buy the property in unfinanceable conditions. So let's say you find a property for $200,000 or $300,000, and it completely needs to be rehabbed. And let's say that your budget is $100,000 on a $200,000 purchase. And after the whole $300,000 is invested in that property, maybe at the end of the day it's worth $450,000. Okay.
Yes.
Now, track with me on this. The point of the flip is so you can make money on the property when it sells, correct?
Yes.
So what is the percentage you recommend to when somebody's like, let's say somebody, this is what we want to narrow down the numbers. Let's say we're simplifying it, buying a property for $200,000. We need to sell it for what money, how much they supposed to make on it to make sense.
So it depends on each investor, right? Like I have some clients who are like, I got to make 50 grand on the property or I'm not going to do it. I have other investors that literally are like, if I can make $10,000 or $5,000 net after all expenses, I will do that so I can keep my crews running. Right. So it's a business
So
to those guys.
if it's a general contractor, I see what you mean. All right, so that's another question for you now. Do you have to be a general contractor to buy a flip?
No, you have to have some experience most of the time. So this loan product, they're going to look and see what kind of experience you have. But really what they're looking at is, have you rented property before? Have you like dealt with third parties? Have you managed a construction project before? And if you've done some basic things like that, like I'm not talking massive projects, I'm talking some projects, then you're more than likely going to be approved. And what's cool about this is this loan product, you could buy this $200,000 property with the $100,000 of improvements with $30,000 out of your pocket. So they will finance 80% of the improvements plus 80% of the acquisition cost at the beginning. So if you do the math on that, you'll get a loan for $240,000. you're going to have $60,000 out of your pocket, but you're going to get a check for $40,000 at closing that you can then use
to repair the house.
Correct. So now you've got $100,000 that way.
So to simplify the process, because there's people out there just thinking, okay, how do I start? What do I do? I want to just give a step by step to the audience so they can actually figure out the simple way. There's people who actually invested and did this many times. There's people who never done it before. There's people who tried to do it and fail or they succeeded.
Absolutely.
So we want to kind of broaden it up for everyone. We have properties that you want to buy. You want great realtors to work with who actually can run the numbers for you for the property. If you find something you really like in a great condition, bad condition is remodeling, you want someone to give you, your realtor to give you value of the property after you remodel and the certain remodeling, what you want to do with it. Now, you don't need to be a contractor. If you have some knowledge of contracting, it will be very great, good for you. But you can hire some contractors.
So
who can actually
I like to general it myself. So in other words, I'm going to find the plumber, the electrician, the sheetrock people. I'm going to find those individual trades, and they're going to report directly to me, and I'm going to be able to negotiate with them directly. So I know that my GC isn't going to whack me for 20 or 30% or 100% of the fees.
Right.
Does that make sense? So I like to control that piece so that I am I understand what this true cost is, and I'm not going to get blindsided with additional costs down the road.
Well, basically the way I did my flips is I would have a contractor. When I purchase a house, I put it down payment, I put off the market. Within 7 days inspection period, I bring my contractors in, I got my bids in, I know my numbers, I run my numbers to be specific. I run my numbers before I bought a house, but then I run my numbers again. And then I figure out what's my profit margin.
Correct.
And you have to always bring the profit margin 6% to 10% extra, just in case some extra repairs need to be done, because there's something unexpected happening constantly.
Always.
And you have to do that because you don't want to be stranded with no money on the end. And I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen. I've seen homes, I'm telling you, they were almost built and they never finished because they ran out of money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you don't want to be in that situation. You need a good realtor.
You need a good
and
realtor.
a good mortgage broker.
Well, but
they're still here.
And you need to talk to those people before you go buying the house.
Yes.
Do not do this without understanding what you can be approved for and what your financial picture looks like before you go buy the house. I've had many conversations over the last 23 years with people that went and found the property, and they're like, okay, cool, Brian, I got to close in 2 weeks and I don't know what to do, and they can't be approved. Yes. So don't put yourself in that position. Be proactive, spend a little bit more time up front. I just read an article this morning about an investor that took an extra year to research how he was going to put his deals together, and his outcome was literally 15 times better than the same guy that he competed against doing it the traditional way.
Right.
Wow.
Well, Brian, let me to give you another scenario. Let's say market is great. It's still doing decent right now. Even it's slowing down. We can feel the slowing down. With the interest is going higher, the market's slowing down. We can resist to that, but that's normal.
Yep.
And then let's say we purchased the flip right now, and in the next 2 months the price goes down. We did all CMA. We figured out the value, but the value went down. In the meantime, is there a way with your financing, when we financing flips, to keep the property and then just keep it as a rental?
Great question. So I love the whole strategy of you buy the property distressed, you're going to rehab the property, you're going to rent the property out, and then you're going to refinance the property and keep it and hold it for the long term. I love that.
I actually love that too. Yeah,
So
because that's how you build your wealth as well.
Well, and it's the best of both worlds. You're getting the property at a discount because you make your money when you buy in real estate. You collect it when you sell. But when you sell, it's a taxable event. So I'm not a huge fan of just flipping because you're getting hammered on taxes.
Yeah, that's another conversation we're going to have, and stay tuned for that one. The taxes and how much the taxes are, but we don't want to talk about it now. It's not a subject.
So buy the property distressed, rehab the property, rent it out. Now you can refinance it. And in this refinance, most of the lenders that we work with will allow 80% of the after repair value or 80% of the current fair market value. So let's say you get in a situation and you're stuck and the market drops 10%, 15, 20%. Well, you're going to be able to come in and do this refinance. This loan is not going to look at your income. It's not going to look at anything other than the cash flow that the property generates. And so long as it generates at least the same amount that you can get in rent, or in income, right?
Right.
So if you get $2,500 in rent, the mortgage payment can't exceed $2,500 a month.
No, and all the expenses cannot exceed that,
Correct.
including taxes.
But even if it
Yes.
was 100%, you can still be approved for this loan,
Right.
and you could still close it in the name of the LLC, and you
Well,
can
then
do
it's
all
not
that
flip
stuff.
anymore. Then it becomes investment.
Correct.
So just to keep in mind, once you're buying a flip, there's always the option to keep it as investment, or if the market strives, it could be going either way. You never know. 6 months is probably time frame that we are talking about. From beginning to the end.
6 to 12, depending
6
on
to
the
12
property
depends on the work you have to do.
and the crew that you hire, or the crews that you have to hire.
Yes.
You want to
The
hire
crew is
one
number
crew.
one. You gotta have a
Yes.
good crew. I'm telling you
Yes.
that is from personal experience. I
Yes.
had a nightmare crew one time, and then I learned from that.
Sure
But
did.
yeah, and but other than that, it is really great business to be in. If you want to do flips, reach out to us. Reach out to Brian Schmidt. What is the phone number to reach you if you have any other questions?
847-603-4778. Again, 847-603-4778 is my direct number.
Beautiful. And Steven, a realtor behind me, supporting entire conversation.
Yes.
What's your phone number,
You
Steven?
can reach me at 309-261-2000. Once again, 309-261-2000.
And
we have
if you
a
guys
team.
need a great realtor that knows how to negotiate and understands this stuff, Meldina's the one.
Yes.
There's a lot of realtors, but there's not a lot that understand this.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's why I am here to speak. I'm here to talk about it, and I know it's impossible to cover everything, but we want to just open a mind set to investment and not to run away from it. The downfall of this is we're supposed to have a Hassan Hasic. I want to bring this out. Hassan Hasic is supposed to be here. He's my contractor I've used for 24 years. Amazing guy. He's actually building 3 brand new homes that's going to be coming in the market next year, and I'm going to be listing those homes. They're $1 million homes. And cement came in today late, so he had to be stuck. He had to be stuck at the house. He couldn't leave the house because he had to wait for the cement. But I am going to visit him in the next 2-3 weeks alive, and I'm going to be in the house he's building. I'm going to show his artwork and what he's doing.
Nice.
And I'm going to present this to you, what it takes to build a brand new home. And Hassan bought this land 23 years ago through me. Actually, it was a house. There was a really old house he lived in. I lived in that house in beginnings. And now he tore down this house. He bought a house next door, and now he's tearing down one. And then he has another house he already built a house on. So, you know what? Even if you buy a house that is old, and you live in a house, and you considering later on remodeling and tearing down a brand new house, there's so many options out there, and we can finance that. We can help you with anything, any real estate needs, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're talking live on Facebook.
Well, and let me throw one thing in. It's not about rate and payment.
Yes.
There are so many things that we can do with financing that when you open your mind up to the bigger picture, instead of being in this one little narrow niche of what is that rate, well, what can we
That's
do
a
with
big
this?
question they have for flips. Flips rates are high.
Yeah.
That's it. You can't run away from it. You can't shop around for flips rates because these people, they're giving you money. The lenders, they're private lenders.
It's risk.
It's risk for them because they're risking as much as you're risking, and they're
Correct.
giving you funds to build a house. And usually those funds are for 6 months to a year.
Yep.
And the minimum requirement is what?
What,
6
as far
months?
as what the period of time? Yeah,
Yeah.
minimum 6 months.
6 months is minimum because they want to make that money back.
Yeah.
But you can pay it off after 6 months in full.
Yep.
And basically the rates are what?
7 to 12%.
7 to 12%.
Like
So
a lot
we're
of people,
talking-
they like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
But guess what? Normal rates right now are 6%,
Yeah,
right?
and you're not going to keep the loan for a year. So even if you had a 12% rate,
Yeah.
that's 1% a month.
Yeah.
So if you sold the property in 6 months, it's really costing you 6% of the loan amount.
Yes.
So it's a lot less than what you would think.
Invest. And I say what? You know, my child is turning 19 at 20 this year, and I'm going to buy him a condo. He's going to buy himself a condo. He's got a full-time job already. And guess what? In 30 years, if he just keeps that condo, he turns 50, he has it paid off.
Yes.
If he just paid minimum payments.
And then rents
So-
it, and if he rented it after he paid
He
it off, it
says,
would pay itself
so-
2 or 3 more times.
Exactly.
Investments are they're not gonna go away. Everybody who invested is like, you know, and smartly invested, you know, they got far from it. So
Not gambling.
Right.
it's not gambling.
Not gambling.
And real estate creates more millionaires than any other industry.
Thank you, Steven.
Love it.
Yeah, but anyways, if you do have questions, we're not gonna take you too long. I know it's been already like probably, I don't know, I can't even see how long we've been talking. We're just talking a lot, so
We're good at that.
yeah, we're good at talking. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to shoot them out to me directly, or you can, you know, punch in there the question, or Brian Schmidt, Steve, and me. And we're looking forward to working with you with any real estate needs and mortgage needs, buying or selling, renting. We do it all. We have a property management company. We partner up as well. So we are also doing property management. And yeah, let us know. 773-491-9045.
And before we go, that includes Airbnbs.
Yes. Oh my God, that's the Airbnbs are great. I love Airbnbs.
Right.
But flips includes Airbnbs because
Yes.
that's a great way to. I mean, oh my God, I'm bubbling now. But there's a friend of mine who just bought a place in Florida, and he's making tons
That's
of
ridiculous.
money. Ridiculous how much they renting those every single night. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
go for it.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful night.
Have a great night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right.
That was good.
That was fun.
Good. That was really good.